Hello, Canada. I'm here in Washington, D.C., where I've been having some very productive, promising, and positive conversations.
So the left is having yet another meltdown, and I find it priceless. So Jamil, a conservative MP, has decided to take his connections to J.D. Vance, that he's known from college, and to go down to the United States to try and repair the relationship that Mark Carney has obliviated. Okay? And so the left is having a complete meltdown, calling him a traitor, saying it's not his job to mind his own business, that, he's interfering and all of these things. And they're all screaming it from the top of their lungs. And you know why that they're screaming all these things from the top of their lungs? Because they either have to attack him or they would have to admit that the reason he needs to do it is because their prime minister and their government has failed to do so. That the master negotiator, the man who campaigned on being the only person that could fight the big bad orange man, the only person that Trump would deal with, and that we would get the best deal for Canada and everything would be okay, failed miserably. And now, instead of saying, we will get the best deal for Canada, he says, we already have the best deal for Canada. Well, if we had the best deal for Canada, why didn't you campaign on that? Because some industries are getting screwed. And Donald Trump laughed in your face and you failed miserably. So what else is new is a conservative needs to come in, go down and see if he can fix this, right? And he's not doing this because of anything partisan. He's not doing this to interfere with the government. He's doing this because this is what's best for Canada. For Canada? Canada. This is what's best for Canada. Tired. Right? It's what's best for Canada. 77% of our trade goes to the United States. Right? And yes, I understand diversifying trade is important. Right? But Mark Carney has gone through how much carbon to fly around the world and not get a single trade deal. Not one trade deal. They are all intentions to do so, or MOUs, which are literally useless pieces of paper. They are not a trade deal. And even if we have the intent to do that, we don't have the infrastructure. And at the speeds that Mark Carney is building, like the speeds that nobody's ever seen before in this country, at the speeds he's building, we're not going to have the infrastructure for bloody well 2 decades. So what do we do until then? Do Canadians continue to sacrifice? Does our economy crash? Do we go into a recession? No. So this man has taken it upon himself to go and try and repair the relationship. Right? Because Mark Carney has done nothing but get up on a stage and in front of press and shit down his throat. They have ruined the relationship. Right? You can't, that's not how you act when you're trying to build a relationship and fix things. Right? Melanie Jolie got on and was pissed that he was down there and said, well, he hasn't even stood up and denounced what GM is doing. Well, that's because the conservative way isn't to stand up and shit talk these people. The conservative way is to find a way through it and fix it. And if the way to fix it is to get down to the United States and have a deal with the Trump administration for the auto sector, which means, right? Which means we wouldn't be losing all of these jobs, right? But Mark Carney and the Liberals and the Justin Trudeau Liberals have strangleholded manufacturing, currently down 5% with the industrial carbon tax, okay? And even this morning with his new auto announcement, what was in there? Carbon emission reduction. Carbon emission reduction. So we are going to stranglehold you with environmental policy to continue to make it impossible to manufacture goods in this country. We're going to save the industry while crippling it so they go down south to the United States. And you know why? Because down south is where 91% of Carney's investments are. So the more investment he drives down south and out of Canada, make him extremely rich. If you can't see through the bullshit, you need to start doing some research and wake up. Mark Carney doesn't care about Canada. He cares about his pocketbook, Brookfield's record-breaking profits, and his dividends.